Hey, this is NFL legend, two-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark. You know what you got to tune into, right? You know what podcast is off the chain.
President Jason Wright, and you're listening to Burgundy Network Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Burgundy Network Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Taylor. Joining me, who was at FedEx Field for the first time in a long time. Finally got to meet him, Brian Murphy from Atlanta, Georgia. What's going on, Brian?
What's up, man? I can't believe it finally happened. It was awesome to be there. Everything was great except for the final score, which we'll dive into. But it was a great time yesterday.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about. And we're not going to be breaking down like stats, play-by-play, all that corny stuff. I'm going to try to not cuss on this podcast. That was like my number one goal. I'm going to try to not do any curse words. So believe if I do, I'm sorry. But joining us is my buddy Rio, who we always have a blast with. Always got something to say about the team. What's going on, Rio?
What's going on, guys? Oh, man, I ain't nobody no cuss words rule. So, you know what
I'm saying? You can. I'm trying
to clean it up. Hey,
look,
I'm going to try to keep with the program, man. What's up, Jess? How you doing?
I'm stuck in what's going on, Jess? Good to see you. I missed her at the game. I don't know how, but she said she'll be there for Dallas, but we're going to be there Thursday.
I don't know where she was at because we did not see her.
No, she's like Bobby. Bobby be everywhere. Bobby be running out of the tunnel with the team.
I'm surprised Bobby wasn't in the suites with Wale and Ovechkin.
I was surprised as well. I don't know how he does it. But, guys, we have so much to talk about in this episode. Obviously, with the first game back at FedEx, like we said, there's so much good things and then a lot of bad things to talk about, too. I labeled this one week one to recap busted pipes because that's what it seemed like. Our defense was just leaking, especially on third downs. We're going to be breaking it down. I'm sure we'll talk about FedEx experiences. But, guys, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. And BetOnline is back and better than ever. All eyes on the gridiron as teams start another great football season, except for Washington, off to 0-1. As always, BetOnline is the number one spot for all your pro and college football. Y'all know I love college football. So college football action this season is taking off. Check out the other podcasts I do, CFB Unfiltered, a little nugget drop there. But there's a new website, new interface, so check out BetOnline. It's got more odds, props, and contests going on. As y'all see me dropping all these bets, I lost a lot of money yesterday thanks to Fitzpatrick.
Hey, it's only week one. It's only week one.
I'm going to bounce back. But it's okay because they doubled the welcome bonus, so you make your first deposit, and they actually do 100%. They match it. So whatever you deposit, you get it. Free money. They match it. So if you lose a ton of money like I did yesterday, it's okay. You're going to make it back. And hopefully Lamar can win me some money today so I can keep going some more bets. But, guys, I first want to talk about – so we're at the tailgate. Me and Rio were. Brian got there. He actually flew from Atlanta straight to the stadium. Like, I don't know how he did it. I don't know if he called up Jason, got a private jet, or how he got there so quick.
Helipad right on top of FedEx. I just dropped right in.
The Dan Snyder chopper just right down the 50-yard line. But, Rio, we'll talk about it real quick. Just the vibes for a real game. You know, we checked out practice. You were at the preseason games, stuff like that. Tailgate-wise, the red zone lot with the hog farmers and everything. It was awesome. What do you think of just that whole scene and the vibes of just being back? And it just felt like game day. Like, we kept saying that going to stadium. Like, yo, it's game day. Like, it hasn't hit us yet. But, like, what was that feeling?
Oh, it was cool. Like, I was anxious. I've been anticipating it for so long because those fake exhibition games, while it's fun to get back to the stadium, it doesn't feel the same as when the games actually count. So, like, the whole ride there, we just had to kept saying, like, me, Jalen, and John, we kept saying, wow, there's a real game today. Like, this is an NFL Sunday. Then we get to the tailgate. It's all excellent vibes out there. I've only tailgated like once in my life before. So it was a good experience. Other than the fact that my boy Jalen, shout out to him, wants to pull out Casamigos tequila at 9:30 a.m. and they got hurricanes popping. Like, I'm not a drinker. So, like, I haven't even ate a hot dog, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even get to holler at a glizzy or a burger or anything before drinks were put in my hand. But, you know, it was a great time, and y'all are going to enjoy my vlog I put out mostly of the tailgate because once the game started, I'm like, you know what I'm saying, I was chilling. I was watching the game.
Yeah. It's safe to say breakfast was whatever Jalen had, that clear stuff in the bottle, and some Miller Lite was breakfast. And lunch didn't exist because of the concessions, which we're not going to talk about.
Tequila with a side of hot dog.
Yeah, I think I had one hot dog. I'm not going to lie. I had one hot dog. But just walking back into the stadium, it just was awesome. Seeing all the fans back. Everyone was hyped up. You get down in the field, and God must have forgot to pay the electric bill because it was hot as hell in there, by the way. I mean,
oh, my God.
I was a burning. Me and Rio were talking about, like, do we even wear a jersey to the game because it's just supposed to be so hot today?
I decided not to. Hell no.
Yeah, that was toasty for sure.
I did. I had to. It's game day. That's like a little tradition. But so you go in the stadium, and people like sending out pictures saying, oh, it's not that full. It filled up like as the game kicked off. Like we were talking about it. And the lower bowl was for
especially.
Sure
it was packed as hell.
It was definitely packed. I mean, the top had some room to improve. I get it. I probably wouldn't be sitting up top too. Like I said, it was like a toaster oven in there. But the lower bowl was packed. Everyone was getting hyped. There was a good bit of Charger fans, Brian. Like, would you say it was a little bit more than you expected?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I'm not trying to dog on Chargers fans. I didn't know how passionate they were. I knew that I thought that with moving from San Diego to LA, there might be a drop off, but they represented. There were some near us for sure. They were definitely behind the Chargers bench. But yeah, there was a good bit in
the
there.
end zone beside us. There was a good bit too.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the Washington fans showed up. I think they were obviously really loud. The only time you ever really heard a Chargers roar, I felt like, was at the end of the game when they sealed it. I think Washington fans did their part. Were loud enough to create some sort of home field advantage, but obviously didn't get the job done. But I thought it was a good environment for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think the Charger fans were like too into, like you said, till the very end of the game. Then they just went nuts, obviously, in the game. But yeah, I was impressed. Yeah, and like we talked about.
I'm not even trying to knock on them. I didn't know that they were that passionate. I figured everybody went Raiders or Rams, and like I said, with moving from San Diego to LA, I don't know.
Jess, I said I agreed with you. So many people were attacking Jess, by the way, on this. I'm not going to talk about it long, but she was saying,
have to stop attacking people for having opinions. Yeah. Like, shut up.
But she was right. Even in our section, there was this one guy to the left of us on a lot of third downs. The guy was like, all right, everybody, like, get up. Let's get loud. And, like, of course, me and Brian, like, pretty much lost our voice. Like, even first down, we were, like, going nuts. But there was a couple people besides. Like, I'm not going to lie. And that was my only thing. Like, I agreed with Jess. Every single third down, you should be yelling. People are like, well, Dan Snyder for 20 years. Well, if you feel that way, then don't even go to the game.
Yeah, don't.
Like, if you're going to let Dan Snyder hold you back from cheering for the team, like, and we were in the game the whole time. It's not like we were down like 20 points or anything like that. Like, we were in it. Like, give the ticket to somebody who actually wants to be there.
Well, so I don't want to jump on it too much, but when you give up 15 third down conversions, maybe you get tired of getting loud for no reason. So, I mean, I can see why people are getting a little discouraged.
Yeah, because in the first half, there was not many things to cheer about in the first half. And while we're on the subject, it is a goddamn travesty that our fans were cheering and chanting Heinicke's name before Fitzpatrick even got up from his injury. That is shameful. That is some Philly level. That is some Philadelphia level Bush League casual fandom. And whoever did that, you should be embarrassed with yourself. I don't care if Taylor Heinicke is the apple of your eye. I don't care about that. Like, while your starting quarterback is on the ground injured, you cheer when he gets up to applaud the fact that he got up. Let him go to the sideline. Then you can chant Heinicke. Yeah, like that is embarrassing as hell. Like it was awful. Like that was just more embarrassing to me than the pipe bursting on those fans.
Let's talk about that.
At least they got the. At least they.
There was two fights.
At least they got to go up to the presidential section.
Yeah,
there was a girl fight too.
There was a girl fight, Donald. So we're not gonna talk about it, but I'm trying to make us look good. But like, there were some bad things. Like we have to assess this, like as people, like fans, people that were there. The pipes bursting. I didn't notice until I got on Twitter, and it was like the section right to left. It was like
on Barstool
behind you. Yeah, I saw it on Barstool. It was section 214.
NFL fans are a gross breed, man. For some of them, not all of them, but there are some cesspool fans out there, and they show themselves a little bit.
I mean, I've been to some college games, and it's terrible. So like it wasn't that bad. Like I've seen some. Sorry, Jess, but like that Tech game was rough. I saw some things at that Tech game I didn't even see at Alabama, which is rough. So let's talk about it. So obviously you said Fitzpatrick goes down, Heinicke comes in. Real before Heinicke came in, what was your assessment of the offense in that quick little teeny sample of Fitzpatrick actually in the game?
I don't even know if it was enough to give a real assessment on it, because the little bit that we seen of him, he was either under duress or his receivers weren't catching the ball. Like De'Ami Brown, third down, drops the first down pass.
Yeah.
Like, and then De'Ami would have had a touchdown on that deep ball, but he was interfered with. I mean, it was nice to see the ball travel down the field a little bit, but we didn't really get to see Fitz get into anything because he was under constant pressure immediately. Yeah. And even Heinicke was when he came in. Both sides of the ball in the trenches, they got their ass whooped yesterday. Like, both of them. Our offensive and defensive line got destroyed yesterday. So I couldn't even give an assessment on Fitz.
Yeah,
I couldn't even give any assessment on Fitz.
Yeah, it looked better with Heinicke, and that's because he can use his feet. Fitzpatrick cannot use his feet and like move outside the pocket. He can like pick up little short yardage things, but Heinicke can roll out, make plays. Sometimes he does it even when he doesn't need to. That's
I'm about to say he does. Yeah, he doesn't. He wants to move his feet every play. Yeah.
So that's what makes the O-line look better. Because like, oh, he didn't get hit. What? That's because he, ran out the pocket. He kind of had to. So I thought initially, the offensive line was bad. A little bit of everybody. And like obviously Cosme coming into the scene, first real NFL game, and you get Joey Bosa. That's not an easy ask. So I'm not gonna ask too much of him. And I feel like that was a big trend yesterday. Rookies looking like rookies, like Ron said. Go ahead, Ron. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I mean, maybe I agree that we didn't really get the chance to evaluate Fitz, but how much of that is on play calling too? I know maybe, with the protection, you didn't really get the chance to go deep, but we saw they draw the penalty when they finally go deep. And how many times, Josh, were you and I saying, take a shot on first down, take a shot on first down? It felt like there were so many run first down, run second down, pass third down, punt. It just felt so predictable. And maybe that was because that defensive line was eating your lunch a little bit and you didn't have time to really go through everything you wanted to do. But man, I wanted to see them take a couple more shots because it felt like when they did, they got a couple of positives out of it. And yes, they were chanting Redskins.
So
for sure.
There was a very loud "Let's go Redskins" like very beginning of the game. Like it wasn't just like 100 people. It was, I would say, like 75-80% of the stadium was chanting. It was loud. And Keith said it. He's like, it brought like a tear to my eye. It was cool to see or hear. But yeah, I agree with you. And I kind of understand it because going into this game, I said the offense is going to go through the running game. And it 100% did with Antonio Gibson. But that's because the Chargers' run defense is not good. And Antonio Gibson was in his bag. What do you have? 90 yards on how many
20
carries? 20 carries.
20 carries. Yeah.
And he was eating. Like, it was like every time he got the ball, like we're getting, I think he averaged, that's close to 5 yards a carry. So, like, the offense is going through it. But you do want to go deep. And then there's the fumble. So, like, he's in his goal yard bag, and then he
carries it like LaShawn McCoy. Like LaShawn McCoy would always carry it out here. He's got to tuck that in.
Over bread.
And what hurt him is he got like turned around too, and the guy came up from behind him and kind of popped it out.
You're susceptible when you're doing it like that. For sure.
As soon as he did that, I knew. I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be
that play sucked all the air out of the stadium because it was coming right off the William Jackson interception, which was amazing.
Somehow
he read that so perfectly. Like he broke on that better than any corner I've seen do here in such a long time. William Jackson played a phenomenal game, by the way. Like
and I tried to tell you, I was like, oh, I don't hear his name in practice. He's probably going to be another free agent bust. I said he's going to be a fan favorite week 1.
Facts.
Look,
and I was listening to the post game. He broke it down. He knew exactly what he was looking for. He said he baited him into the throw, and he read it perfectly. And you're right. It could have been the game defining play had it not been for Gibby's fumble. And you hate it for Gibson because it absolutely cost them 7 points. The defense only gave up 20 points, but you only want to give 13 of them to the defense with the Chargers getting the ball inside the 5. It was definitely a blow.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how much worse it could have been. Like, they have the 2 turnovers in the red zone. So, like, Justin Herbert could have easily scored 2 more times and, added to his stats. So, you got to think about, like, yes, the defense was rough. I think they did better than how I was thinking yesterday. Like, I went back and rewatched it. That was a question I wanted to ask you.
Same.
We were like, look, we're not going to talk about it tonight. Like, they don't deserve our words tonight. We just had a lot of anger built up. I was mad. Driving home made me even more mad because that traffic pissed me off.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to ask you, like, the day after Like, how do you feel about the defense? And I mean, offense too, but mostly defense because that's what we were harping on. What's your after day thought on it?
It wasn't as horrible as I thought yesterday, but it was not good at all, especially for a team coming in with such high expectations and elite defense on paper. Our defensive line got their ass whooped. Both of our edge rush bookends, they wanted no parts of Rashawn Slater. He bullied both of them every time
Rashawn
they
Slater's
stood in front of him.
Tier 1 tackle in this league already.
He was getting them out of here.
Well, we went back to that. Everybody goes back to that college tape of him shutting down Chase Young. As far as I'm concerned, it's 2-0 Slater right now. I mean, you hate to say it, but he absolutely manhandled him at times. So, yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. He's one of those guys that like plays the piano, reads. Like he kind of reminds me of like Justin Herbert.
Weird.
Like, people said like Justin Herbert's just a weird dude. Like he doesn't talk to people. He doesn't do none of that, and then he just absolute balls.
Playing instruments is so weird, and reading is really weird.
Playing the piano, like who does that? No, it's actually pretty cool. I wish I could play the drums. So something I want to talk about
outside of football.
Yeah, that's my boring life outside here. I do nothing. But just literally sports. I tried watching Clickbait, by the way, today, Rio, and literally all I kept thinking about was football, and I couldn't watch it. So I tried, but I couldn't do it. Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, this is the game where stats were super misleading. Because if I told you that the Washington would win the turnover battle, would out-sack the Chargers, and, specifically would force 2 Justin Herbert turnovers, you would take that all day long. But then you look at it, this is where I'm still kind of frustrated with the defense because, yes, they didn't play. They weren't awful by any means. And like we said, they bent, but they didn't break.
Yeah.
But when it mattered the most on third down and big situations, the Chargers won every one of those plays. And so that's why, to me, it still is pretty frustrating because it seems like those things could have been easily corrected throughout the game. It just seems like it was like the definition of insanity. They kept going back to the same thing, expecting the same outcome. And it was frustrating.
And I kind of want to talk about subs and how many snaps players played. So one thing I noticed
rotations, my
God. Rotations, I mean, you would have thought he was at the club with as many rotations going on. Hold on real quick because Chadwick had to call me out. He said last thing before I jump off, Brian, Josh, it's time to grow.
That's
right.
If I could, I would. No comment on that at all. So it seemed like on many third downs. We've already talked about Chase getting moved to the other side of the line, so he didn't have to face Slater, which already is embarrassing.
Imagine.
You see him coming off the field, and I saw a lot of Casey Toohill and Jason Smith-Williams on key third downs where we need to get pressure, which was non-existent, by the way, because the Chargers offensive line allowed the lowest pressure rate at 12% in all of week 1, minus something crazy happens tonight. So I'm kind of confused at that. And we mentioned, you see everything going on, but it seemed like we didn't make adjustments. So we're not getting pressure, but on key third downs, you're telling me Montez Sweat and Chase Young are sometimes coming off the field? Is there anything to even defend that, Rio, or is that just you still don't get it?
Hell no, there's not. Like Jack Del Rio was getting cute yesterday. I hope it better be because, well, it would be bad, but these players better be out of shape or nursing injuries because I didn't understand some of it. Cam Kerr was one of the best players on the field yesterday, and he only played 37 snaps. That is egregious. Word to Stephen A. Smith.
I don't remember him being on the field most of the third, fourth quarter.
I do not understand. There were people coming out in the winning moments of the game, the end of the game. There was one formation. There was one formation we were in the fourth quarter where it was it was Tim Settle and Toohill and a bunch of guys that weren't the main guys in the game during winning time. I don't understand.
Well, and another situation, I can't remember, but I felt like it was obviously a key situation. Chase didn't even have his helmet on the sideline. He was not even prepared to enter the game. It was already known. Yeah, it was already known that he wasn't going to come out for, like you said, a 3-4 play stretch. Why? What is the point? And if it's conditioning, then shame on them. I mean, if it's a package, then why? I mean, why?
Why that package?
No sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
if
understand.
FedEx ain't working, go with UPS.
Well, and here's one thing I thought. I think it was hotter than maybe we all expected, and maybe that played into it. But everybody was dealing with the heat. I mean, suck it up, and get your glass of Gatorade and get back out there. I mean, come on.
Stick the IV in, put the oxygen mask on, whatever you got to do. And another thing I saw
were wild.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, why is, I mean, no disrespect to Casey Toohill. He had a couple like run stops and stuff. I'm like, why is Casey Toohill in?
I don't want to see him in the fourth quarter of a winning game.
Yeah,
right.
when we barely have a lead or behind. So another thing that kind of blows my mind, I pointed this out to Brian yesterday. I've seen this a good bit. So it seems like whenever we go in nickel, when we use two linebackers, Jamin Davis
always
comes
off
the field. And Ben St. Juste comes in, which is okay. Like, that's our nickel corner. But why is Bostic staying in? Why? Like, what makes him say, let's run with Cole Holcomb, who played every defensive snap yesterday, by the way. So I don't know how he wasn't gassed. I mean, he kind of held his own. He didn't, like, give up anything crazy, besides just not making tackles. But why
we don't guard
John
tight
Bostic?
ends, man.
Yeah, that's been our problem for, like, 5-6 years now. But
Yeah,
what
John Bostic,
think, like, go ahead.
He must be a part of that Dustin Hopkins Troy Apke club where they know where the bodies are buried in Ashburn, because I don't understand. I do not understand it.
He got the vet gold
oh my
card.
God.
Yeah.
The prime example, 3rd and 16. Why are you looking in the flats, John Bostic? First of all, we're like the softest cover 4 defense ever. And what are you looking in the flats for? What are you looking in front of you on 3rd and 16 for?
They tell you know where the sticks are, and you literally looked everywhere but the sticks. I mean, it's brutal.
It's funny. If you look at that little graphic on
Twitter
where it shows the dots, it looks like he's like running to the sideline. He's like, oh, wait, no. Or he's like running to the tunnel because he knows he shouldn't be on the field in 3rd and 16 in coverage. So, like, I and we can, harp and, be critical on Jamin Davis for his little rookie mistakes, which I haven't been because I'm going to be patient with him. But you have to believe he is absolutely playing that play better than John Bostic 10 out of 10 times. There's no way he's just going to be that lost on a play. And it's funny because we were calling out Micah Parsons for the Cowboys, saying how lost he looked the other day. And here's our vet, John Bostic, who's supposed to be like the leader of the linebacker corps, looking as lost as him. So, like, I'm not talking trash on Micah Parsons ever again because that's how our defense is looking. Now, I want to say something because, Rio, you've been talking about it on Twitter, and I think I agree with you, Rio. Between Kendall Fuller and Ben St. Juste, people said that St. Juste was by far the worst defensive player yesterday, and I highly disagree. I think Kendall Fuller played his worst game in Washington yesterday.
He was terrible yesterday. He was missing tackles. He looked lost. He couldn't stick with any receiver they put him with. He stood out on tape immediately as one of the worst defenders on the team. And yes, Benjamin St. Juste also had a bad game. Our entire rookie class had a bad game yesterday. Their debuts of all of our rookies were bad, but Fuller was the worst person on the defense yesterday.
The best way to sum it up was St. Juste looked like a rookie. Kendall Fuller just looked bad. I mean, you can excuse being a rookie. You can't excuse a guy with that much experience looking that bad. I'm with you. He felt like he was a step behind from snap number 1.
And I'll say, like, we knew that St. Juste was going to always be on the big physical guy who was obviously Mike Williams. And Mike Williams got the best of him. But I'll say, like, if you rewatch the tapes, the touchdown, there was like 2 or 3 third down conversions he had on him. Ben St. Juste played him so tight and as good as you can in this league without getting a penalty. And Justin Herbert's just that good. He put the ball perfectly. Exactly. It's always back shoulder fade. You can't defend that. There's literally nothing you can do.
I dream of us having a quarterback like that. Bro, like, I dream of it.
Oh, we're not even going to start the debate for the people that says we should have took him number 2 because nobody thought he was going number 2. Everyone thought that the Chargers were getting him as high as they did, but we're not going to talk about that.
That means the whole league scouted wrong. This dude is special, man.
Look, going into this draft, we're just going to scout and just start listing quarterbacks 1, 2. Just he should be number 1 overall. He should be number 1 overall. Like, everybody's getting a high grade going into this draft. I don't care, but no, he legit threw every single pass exactly where it needed to be on Mike Williams. Like, as close as it could be. So, like, I don't fault St. Juste. I think there's a couple plays he gave up, but those ones where he's playing that tight press man coverage like he's supposed to, he did it. Like, there's nothing he could have done about that, and except for just tugging his jersey and getting a flag. And then people are like, "Oh man, here's St. Jude's flagging people." Like, Kendall Fuller, hands down, worst player yesterday. I don't care what PFF or any other grade says. Kendall Fuller has been in the league way too long. But the thing is, I think we set him up to fail yesterday because we're playing man coverage, and he is not a man corner at all. He is 100% a zone corner who's just going to be in a space. He's not going to play physical. He's not going to press you at the line. He's going to give you a cushion and try to cut you off. So, like, is that on the coaching staff or is that on Kendall Fuller?
Yes. It both.
Both.
Yeah.
Definitely both. They can share the blame.
Yeah, I don't think Jack Del Rio did any of his players really any good yesterday. But I also think that you're a professional corner. You got to be out there and you gotta make a play every now and then.
Yep, we're looking at Rant.
Handful
of times DBs are in good position. Speaking of Beards, but Herbert had the perfect window placement. Literally every single throw, he led the receivers, or they were wide open. And he found them every single time.
Look, I mean, I mentioned the stats, and if you were just blindly looking at the stats, you could see how Washington could have come out with this victory. And for as poorly as they played it at times, you got to look at the positives and the fact that they were in this game. They potentially had a chance to ice this game if it wasn't for a bad turnover. So as dire as it seems after week one, all the overreactions we're seeing, you got to think, pump the brakes a little bit. This team still has a lot of talent. They still are going to make some plays. They're still going to have their moments. And so there are some positives to take from it. I think the Chargers are a really good team. I think they're going to end up in the playoffs. So you're going to look back and be like, wow, we lost to a playoff team by 4 points, probably should have won the game. There's no moral victories, but you got to at least take a couple of positives from it, because you turn around real quick and you play Thursday. You can't let week one beat you twice, or otherwise it's going to start a bad spiral, a bad snowball effect, and this team cannot afford that. They've already been dealt some of their blows, and they can't add to it by getting in their own heads.
Yeah, Chargers are a damn good team. Like, I've been saying that. Like, people, like, when I saw Vegas first come out and say we were favorites right away, I was like, man, like, they feel more good, like, better about our team than I do. Like, honestly, I think the Chargers are a good test. And I get it. We got beat by one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks. Defense could have played much better. But the thing that frustrated me so much, like Rio said, it just drove us crazy because the same thing kept happening over and over and over. Like, make an adjustment. Mm-hmm. Like, when you're taking Cam Curl out, maybe put him in that Buffalo nickel spots where he's going to rough somebody up across the middle because St. Juice can't handle it. Kendall Fuller can't do it. Yeah, put him in the game. Bobby McCain was tackling everybody yesterday, and then they took him out. I'm like,
also, an adjustment we should have made. I seen at least 4 or 5 times we were in a defense where Cole Holcomb is lined up on Keenan Allen. I do not understand. Listen, coaches, you can look just like I can look from the crowd. Cole Holcomb should not be ever aligned with Keenan Allen on a damn football field. So I don't know how that adjustment, like, someone should have been screaming to them like, yo, that's not going to work out for y'all. Like, that's not going to work out. Like, what are you doing?
Else rotate.
I have you don't want to put a linebacker on one of the best route runners in the league. Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, Keenan Allen's elite, by the way. He is a top wide receiver in this league. And speaking of top wide receiver in this league, Terry McLaurin, the best play of the day. I mean, in all of football, it was number one. Sports Center, number one. Rio said, if we keep this up for 3 or 4 years, we got to let him go. I pray to God Ron turned this bus around before Terry wants to go. But that play,
get that man nuts. A quarterback.
We got to go all in on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. But like Brian, he looked at me. He's like, "Oh man, that was an interception." I'm like, "No, bro, he caught that." He's like, "What?"
Well, so
we were all like waiting to like see what it was.
I saw the flag, and so I was like, they picked it, but it's going to be, overturned because of the flag. And then I just heard this like dull roar from that side, because I think they're the only people that could see that he came down with it. Man, that was a pretty awesome moment, and it set up the touchdown. McLaurin's unreal, and I'm with you, Rio. We don't deserve that guy, and they better figure this out quick, or we're going to lose a special player.
Terry is different, and that just goes to show it. And the thing that drove me nuts was this kind of segues. Justin here says, "Are you concerned about the offense while Fitzpatrick's out?" Not really. So Fitzpatrick's out 6 to 8 weeks likely. So it's good that we have that as like our minimum. So we know like now this does 2 things. Heinicke can finally get his chance, and then also as fans and the people that think we know everything about the organization. We get all of our questions answered about Fitzpatrick, myself included. And I said it Sunday, I don't know what it is about this guy. I want to say kid, but he's literally older than me by a little bit. This guy has something special about him. I don't know what it is, but he sparks the offense. He sparks the crowd. Obviously, the fan base is behind him. Obviously, I can talk about the Tampa Bay game, but he has something in him, and we need to see if it's how much longevity he has in that. Is this something that just runs out, or is this something that he can sustain even after players and defensive study him, know his habits, get tapes on him? So are y'all feeling good about the offense for this next 6 to 8 weeks with Taylor Heinicke at quarterback?
I am. I think that he can jump in. Like you said, he's going to prove us right or wrong one way or another, but you're right. We're going to get all of our answers. I am excited to see how he prepares with maybe not this week. It's not a full week, but with, a full week of practice to be the man, what does that look like for him? Maybe it makes him better. Maybe it makes him a little more crisp. Maybe his feet aren't as happy because he's been used to what some of the looks he might get. So maybe there are some positives that come out of it, but I think that defenses are going to start to hone in on some of his tendencies, and he's got to be careful with that. But you're right. The spark that he brings there's no denying. I mean, his first 2 drives, he gets 10 points. He gets the field goal before half, and then he gets a touchdown coming out of the half. I mean, there's something to be said about what he's able to do. But you just hope he's not like a baseball pitcher that is just only a hard throwing reliever. You hope that he can come in at the beginning of a game and get you 3 outs to start the game. You know what I mean? He can settle in at the beginning of the game and figure it out from then.
Yeah, what drove me nuts in the first half is Adam Humphries was the only wide receiver to catch a pass in the first half. I think Logan had a catch and Gibson had a catch, but it was not good, at all. And then obviously Heinicke comes in and Terry finishes with 4 catches for 62 yards. So the offense opens up a little bit. So Rio, that's what I wanted to ask you is even when Fitzpatrick was in there, we seen it in the preseason. We saw it in that small sample on Sunday. It just didn't seem like the offense was getting going. And then you see Heinicke come in. Do you think it's coincidence at all? Or do you think Heinicke actually does know this offense and he can actually run it well?
I think it's a little bit of both, but Heinicke just brings electricity when he comes in. Sometimes it's to his detriment how soon he leaves the pocket, because sometimes he leaves clean pockets and doesn't give the play time to develop. But that's what's fun about him, and that's what's enjoyable about the way he plays, and people are ready to rally around him because he's exciting. That play he made to Terry, the improv play where he just kind of shuffled it to him. That was awesome. That got me so amped up. But I can see also that he gets away with some really bad throws. He throws some ducks, man, because he doesn't have a strong arm. And we enjoy it so much right now because the sample size is so small. So we haven't seen enough of him from him to make his mistakes yet. And that's why we're so high on him. We have no reason to be down on him because we haven't seen his bad game yet. And he is capable of a bad game, because if he wasn't, he would not have been out of the league pretty much the first few years of his career. So
and he's got to stay healthy. I mean, he can't be reckless. I'm all for making plays, but you got to be safe. He can't. If he gets hurt, we're down to Kyle Allen on one good leg.
Kyle Schumer. We got Kyle Schumer.
Yeah, we're down to Kyle Allen on one good leg. So Heinicke, I think he's going to take it and run with it, but he's got to be smart. I don't want him to stop that creativity and, stop the playmaking, but he's got to be careful out there because they're in a dicey situation should he go down, which he is injury prone. And so you never know. It might happen again. You hope it doesn't. But
my boy got swollen the offseason. What you talking about? He took that creatine, that creatine and protein shakes. He got a little bold.
I was scared every time he got hit yesterday.
Yeah. If he goes down, we're screwed.
So what are we looking at for the Giants? Because I don't want this thing to snowball and to spiral. But for some reason, Daniel Jones has Washington's number. Lose a quarterback. I mean, everything points to this getting out of control and Washington ending up 0-2 before they can even blink 4 days into the season.
Yeah, I went back and watched their game with the Broncos, and it seemed like the same Giants to me, and they have a lot of problems. And I think it's their system. I don't think the fan base likes the coaching staff at all. I don't think they like the offense at all. But Daniel Jones, he had 2 fumbles again yesterday. But some
Oh,
reason he turns
they look
to
terrible.
like Eli against us. Yeah, he didn't look good. So I don't know what it is where he plays so good against us. But Saquon, he's not 100%. I think he had like 5 carries for like barely 20 yards yesterday, if that. So like, I don't think he's healthy at all. And it's a short week. He's probably not going to practice that much because they're trying to keep him kind of healthy until closer to game day where he might play. I don't know if he does or not. I thought Logan Ryan would start, but apparently he was just cramping. They said he's good to go. So that sucks because he's one of the better defenders in the league. I think he forces a lot of turnovers.
Really good.
But I do think the 2 things that really help us with the Giants that I saw is their run defense is not good. Melvin Gordon went off on him yesterday. So I think Gibby can bounce back. You know, he had a great game. If it wasn't for that fumble, like Gibby was probably the best offensive player yesterday, honestly. And then I think their offensive line still has a lot of struggles. So I think this can be a game where our defensive line comes back, gets pressures, hit Daniel Jones, force some turnovers, and everyone's like, all right, yep, we're good again. You know, Chase Young, we don't win Justin Herbert. I'm sorry. Kind of thing. So what's the one thing that you think is the biggest area that needs to be improved, Rio, for the Giants? Go ahead, Brian.
Hold on real quick. I just want to say 10 carries, 26 yards, 1 catch, 1 yard. So 11 overall touches. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's not Saquon numbers at all. Against us, he's usually putting up 300 all-purpose yards. So Rio, if you're looking at this, what's the area where like, hey, this can be where we lose this game to the Giants if we're not careful?
Get to the damn quarterback. Like if we can't put consistent pressure on this O-line that we're playing this week, which is a bottom 3 O-line in the league, we have real issues, and we're very delusional about how good these guys up front are. You know, the guys that are all untouchable, like in a trade for a star quarterback, you know, the top 2 defense that we think we have. If they can't get to Daniel Jones this week, it'll be very telling of what JP Finley calls Ashburn syndrome, because this O-line sucks. And on top of it, the quarterback sucks. Even though he always beats us, he's not very good. And also, Heinicke should be able to get his versus him. They made pedestrian-ass Teddy Bridgewater look like Peyton Manning yesterday. Like, we should be able to score and get to their quarterback. There's no excuses for it. If we lose this game, it's going to get ugly for us because we go to
play
Buffalo
the Bills after that, and
then go to Atlanta. I mean, that's still a road game in Atlanta week 4. Then we got to play Jameis in week 5. And then we got to run through all the elite quarterbacks after that before facing the division. It's going to be rough if we lose this game. We're not allowed to lose this game. All hell is going to break loose on Washington football Twitter and the DMV in general if we start this season off 0-2, most likely 0-3, going to Buffalo the next week.
I was going to ask you, is this a must win? Because I'm labeling it a must win.
Hell yeah, code red.
Yeah.
Code red game. Word to
Because
Jay.
this is NFC East matchup until the very end of the season, where we literally finish out the season with nothing but NFC East games. So I feel like this could be that golden ticket to where we get to the end of the season, like, hey, we beat the Giants week 2. That's what gets us in the playoffs. That's what gets us as NFC East champs won again. What are you going to say, Brian?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you nailed it on the head. The biggest thing is that it's a division game, and you're right. It's nice to have that in your pocket when you don't play them forever. But also, on the same token, you lose that game, and then it puts you behind the 8 ball. Literally, I mean, you're 0-2, but then you're basically 0-3 because of having a division loss. So, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you hate to label game 2 a must win, and realistically, if they start 0-2, it's not completely over, but it sure feels like it. And you got to beat this team. They're not very good. Some would argue Washington's not very good, but they're not very good, especially their quarterback. There should be no excuse that you don't force at least two turnovers against this guy. Enough making him look like Patrick Mahomes when he does so poorly against everybody else. There's no reason this defense shouldn't get after him and make him look the same that he does every other week.
Yeah, I think it's one thing losing a very close game to a really good playoff caliber Charger team who has their franchise quarterback, has, these studs on defense with Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr., Joey Bosa, and then one of the most underrated wide receiver cores in the NFL, like we talked about with Keenan Allen and Michael Williams. But then going against the Giants at home, I think they're getting a little bit too hyped up. People said, that's kind of like our sleeper to win the NFC East. I don't think so. I think they still have a long ways to go. And honestly, it starts with coaching and system. I think this is the game where you set an example like, hey, yeah, we are, up there with the Cowboys who actually look pretty damn good to win the NFC East. Like this shouldn't be a close one, like in my opinion. I don't think this should be one where we're like stressing about the Giants. I think you have to make an example of the Giants, and it starts on your defense. And it's a night game. Like I know we are terrible primetime games. We never get them. Last year we got
to put that past us, man.
Yeah, so we have to start this trend. We got to start fresh. We got to get rid of all the curses in the stadium. Quarterback going down first game. Like we have to just clean out all that. I think beating the Giants at home in a night game. And Rio, you saw the fireworks and the light show going down. Like how hype would it be Thursday night if we beat the Giants?
Oh, it would be great because we cannot lose this game. Yeah, this is prime time. We got to make up for the bad optics from what was going on at the stadium on Sunday. Pull out the fireworks, Joey. Joey, if you're watching, pull out the fireworks, pull out the lasers and the cannons. We need them.
Everything.
Prime time, baby.
Every single firework y'all had for the entire season just busted out Thursday night if we win. So usually, Rio, we do Monday headlines of what we think is going to be talked about with this game the day after. So obviously, being a Thursday night game, it's going to be a Friday morning headline. So when you turn on ESPN or NFL Network, because that's probably one of our favorite. I think NFL Network's better than ESPN, by the way. When it comes
Good Morning
to
Football is
way better. Good Morning Football is life. It is life. Oh yeah, I love it.
It's on repeat. I get to work and turn that on. So when you turn on the TV Friday morning and they're talking about this game, what do you think is going to be talked about?
Did Washington find their starter at quarterback for the future? That's what it's going to be, because no matter how the game goes, like if we win, the spin will be, did Washington solve their quarterback situation? Did they find their Tony Romo? Like, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Heinicke mania. Oh, my God, this is the kid who killed it in the playoff game, the ODU kid that was just in class last year. It's going to be Heinicke. That's what it's going to be about if we win the game. That's what I think is the headline there.
Yeah,
unless he's just god-awful.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I think either way, they're going to be like, well, why wasn't Heinicke starting week one? That kind of thing, even if they lose a close one. But I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but until this team shows me otherwise, this is the classic letdown game where things seem to be – things don't really seem to be going in their favor, but they should win this game, all that stuff. They haven't done it in the past, and until they do it, I'm going to think that, it's a night game like we talked about. It's after a tough loss that they let spiral out of control. And I'm thinking that they lose a close one and they're 0-2 with a lot of question marks. We feel like there are a bunch of question marks right now, but I think they'll, if they lose, that they're a whole bunch more. So prove me wrong, but I'm not gonna believe in this team until I see it happen.
I'm going to go against you, Brian. I'm going to be the optimistic rah-rah fan like he says. I think with Saquon not at 100%, this is the perfect time to play them. That puts a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones, and I don't think he can handle that. To me, this is if our defense doesn't wreak havoc, if we don't have 3 sacks and a turnover this game, then we failed. So I think this is the game where it's going to be all on Daniel Jones. I don't think he can handle that. So I think we win this one by 10, maybe more, maybe 13, 14. I think this is the bounce back game. Go ahead.
I got 24-13 us.
Okay.
That's what
I'll take that all day long. If we hold them to 13, solid. I just want Daniel Jones on the ground as much as possible. And I'm sure y'all see the picture of their lineman blocking a running back I tweeted out. That was wild, by the way. Von Miller turned them both around to where they were blocking each other. So, Chase Young, please do that this weekend or Thursday, because that would just be perfect. So, I think this game, I think we win. I think Twitter goes back to normal. It's just funny, how normal. As normal as it's been, which isn't good.
We'll be crying about something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just what we do. But I think it's just funny how after one game we all freak out. But it's fine because we're all fans. We all get emotionally tied to this.
You already know how the vibes in the car was and how we were posting in the stadium yesterday. Bro, we was mad as shit.
Yeah.
All right, home. I was like, Rio, bro, I got a headache. I'm gonna lay down.
You don't even need a full 24 hours. You need 12 hours to get it out of your system, and then it's time to actually sit down and you feel how you feel. So yeah, I'm with you. You need some time to get it out of your system.
That's why
I didn't talk my
that's
entire
why
way back.
I refused to go in
airport.
front of a mic yesterday.
Yeah. Literally, we could have been interviewed by the news. Like, what do you want me to talk about? You know, you saw the game, didn't you? Like,
Next
I would have.
question.
I'd have been like a head coach yesterday. Like, what you even talking about the game? You saw it? You watched the
Next
game, didn't you?
question.
Yeah.
That's why I don't blame people for coming to press conferences mad as hell. Like, fam, I just lost the game and I got to answer to you non-athletic bastards about why I made a mistake.
Right.
Like, they understand.
I'll say this. I listened to Ron today and I'm so tempted. This is going to be my last comment. I'm so tempted to just turn heel on all of our media members because they be pissing me off so much, bro. Ron's like, this is exactly what I know about Ron. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, this is exactly the injury. Like, this is all I know. And then literally the first 3 questions. So, Ron, Fitzpatrick's injury, like, you said this. Is it one of those tricky hip injuries? Ron's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor. We're waiting for a second opinion.
And the next person asks the same exact question.
Yeah. I said, so if Ryan Fitzpatrick injury was a fruit, which fruit would you say it's more compared to? Bro, what? Like, why y'all asking me these questions? I forgot who it was. Nikki asked some great questions, by the way. I love Nikki.
Nikki's awesome.
She's over here. Yeah, she's asking, like, Taylor Heinicke's going to run the offense. Like, how do you, like, feel about him in the game? Like, did you think the offense was, like, behind him? Blah, blah, blah. Ask great questions. And then the next question. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick's injury, like, who was the doctor doing the second opinion? Like, what? Like, bro, I don't care. Like, don't ask me these questions. I've told you everything. And, like, I don't know. People think Ron comes to the press conferences, like, rude. I don't blame him at all. I think he handles it well because sometimes the media just be asking too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the best answer is I don't know. And Ron does that well. He says, I don't know past what I told you. I'm not going to hide stuff from you. I'm not going to do anything that gives me, a competitive disadvantage. And he's really good about that. And sometimes it's like, all right, just leave it alone. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah. What do you want to say? Hey, this is the playbook we got for Thursday. So first play, this is exactly what we're going to run. This is what we want Taylor to do.
Our season is over now that Ryan Fitzpatrick is injured. That'll do it for us. Call it a year.
I don't get it. But anyways, we're going to roll with Taylor Heinicke at least 6 to 8 weeks. We'll see. Cam Newton's not coming to DC. Thank God. The Alabama in me did not want that at all. I know a lot of people did. But guys, buckle up. It's a quick turnaround. It's a short week. You can't be mad. Like I said on Twitter, I'm going to talk about it tonight. And this is the last I'm going to talk about the Chargers game because we got another one coming up. And this one's more important. It's an NFC East matchup, the first and only one until the very end of the season. So, guys, we'll see you at FedEx on Thursday night. I know Rio's going to be there.
Hell yeah. You already know I'm in the building. Yeah.
Early. We got to beat that traffic because I'm not – if I drive my big truck, you best believe I'm leaving early. But guys, we will see y'all Thursday night at FedEx. Peace. And if not, we'll hit y'all with the recap. Peace.